Welcome into the Osher and Andrew Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio for another episode of NewOrleans.Football presented by PJ's Coffee. If you're looking for a new car, check out my guy Matt Bowers at one of his many locations throughout the region. I'm Nick Underhill. That's Brandon Thomas. B, what do we got?
We got our first segment presented by Bear Insurance, the Earhart Agency. Nick, y'all are getting ready to head up to the combine in Indianapolis, but what actually happens there? Like, what's the entire process that goes on at the combine?
Yeah, I mean, I guess from our side of it, we'll start there. It's kind of
Mhm.
one of the more interesting things to cover because it's there's like a very direct way of covering it, and then there's like kind of like an abstract way of doing it. And when I was younger, you take the direct path because you think that's what you're supposed to be doing,
Mhm.
and you spend all your time trying to figure out, you know, which people met with the team you covered. And, as you do this longer and longer, you hear, hey, like we met with 300 people. Like you realize that doesn't really matter. And, but it's something you get a little thing, you tweet it, you get your 40 retweets or whatever. And, you feel like you're doing the right thing. And when you're younger, that's just kind of the way to do it. Like you're in the room, they got all these guys at a podium, you spend all your time in the room, you're asking benign questions and writing generic things. And you come to find out, the longer you do this, if you are at a thing like this and you look to your left and you look to your right, and if you see another reporter there, especially one that, covers the same team as you, like you're in the wrong place. Like you shouldn't be anywhere where you're seeing other people. Like the real action happens where you aren't seeing it.
Mhm.
I think the way I cover it is a lot different than anybody. Like a lot of people are trying to get the 2 a.m. bar conversation. I don't place any value in, talking to a drunk person.
Yeah.
So I don't really try to do that. I have my own way of doing it. I, kind of set my sights on what I'm trying to get. I get a plan for trying to figure out how to get it and then go get it and execute. But yeah, I mean, probably for the first 5, 6 years of my career, like, I'm in that room trying to do it that way. I'm one of 85 people at the podium when Tyrann Mathieu goes up there to talk about, what happened there, Johnny Manziel, like, and that's it. Like you're running around like someone, oh, hey, did you meet with the Giants? And you're in the back of the room and your
Right.
heart's beating, like, I got to get the Saints one in. I got to get the Saints one in. And it's like, you realize over time, like, it doesn't, they meet with 300 people and they draft seven. Like they're meeting with everybody. They're going to talk to everybody. And that's just kind of the way you do it. Senior Bowl is the same way. Like if you're looking around and you're in the room where all the people are talking, like you're doing it the wrong way. Like, yeah, there's information there. There's stuff to learn about these prospects or whatever, but there's another way to do it. And there's only, a couple times a year where you shake the building of the team you cover and everybody falls out
Mhm.
and you can actually, have conversation with people you aren't gonna be able to talk to the rest of the year. I don't disparage anyone that wants to work that room. I used to. I just kind of figured out there was a better way to do it. So that's kind of interesting on that front. From the team front,
Yeah.
yeah, is watching it, meeting with all the people, talking to them. But again, it's the indirect stuff that's kind of the most interesting. It's this is where trade talks start to happen. This is where free agency markets start to get set. There's no, you're not allowed to have those conversations, but you know,
Yeah. You
yeah,
know. Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford's out there trying to set his market. Like
Right.
no,
Right.
Matthew Stafford's out there trying to find a trade partner. Like
Right.
that's where all this stuff starts to happen. It's where the car stuff kind of really started to take shape years ago. I mean, it's kind of where the league year starts in March or whatever it is, but it really kind of starts this week in Indy. We're flying up there as soon as we're done with this, and we'll be
Mhm.
covering it. But yeah, that's kind of where everything starts.
Yeah, I was reading something earlier this weekend talking about how Shadur Sanders was like not gonna throw there and just waiting to just meet with all the teams. So I guess tapping in on some of those different things, like, hey, who did you meet with, all that kind of stuff, is a way to go. But sounds like you got this down to a science, man.
Well, I mean, I got what works for me down,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
but yeah, I mean, for a long time, I kind of did it that way. And then it's just like, you figure out, like, wait a minute, like Adam Schefter ain't in here. Like, if Adam Schefter ain't in here, why am I in here? Like, that's the
Right,
best reporter in the league. I want to be like him. I want
right.
to be like Ian. I don't see Ian anywhere. I don't see Tom Pelissero anywhere. I don't see Garofalo. I don't see Fowler. I don't see
Right.
Diana. I don't see any of them
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, like if you see them, they're working their set. I don't see Florio. Like I'm trying to get out of there. I'm trying to, you just kind of realize I'm not gonna have a genuine conversation here. And like this is an opportunity to bump into somebody like I will not have an opportunity to the rest of the year. And that's where I'm trying to place, put my eggs in those baskets. Every
Right.
agent in the league is here. So like they're the ones representing the pending free agents, the guys that are going to be traded. Like if I'm chasing around Colt Laerla, like I'm not talking to the people that are actually going to shape my team that I
Yeah.
cover, and that's kind of where I want to be. I want to have the information of like what's about to happen. How much do they actually like this dude? How much do they actually like your client in the draft? Like, yeah, they met with him. He's 1 in 300. Like, what are the odds here? Like, are they showing more interest on us? Like, that's where I'm trying to get it from, and
Mhm.
that's just the way I do it. But look, I think there's value into that room. I think there's trend stories you can write. I think there's important things you can find out about people at those podiums. Like I just think for me, like, it's just like if you're covering the Saints for someone else and I'm covering the Saints and we're standing in the same scrum, like what value am I really bringing out there to
Right.
anybody?
It
And
wouldn't
here's
make
the other
sense.
thing, like everyone that I'm kind of like the young reporters can take this or not. Like I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
I'm spitting now for the next generation, but you know, I, if you're asking questions at a podium, they're transcribing that. So I can go and do everything I do,
Mhm.
and then at 12 o'clock
Still eat off the
tonight,
other plate.
when I'm in my room, I'm gonna go through and read the transcripts,
Mm.
and I'm gonna download them all and put them in a PDF, and I'm gonna Command F Saints, and I'm gonna see like who said they met with the Saints, and I got that now too, but you don't have what I got, like
Mm.
so. If it's in a general poll like that goes out on the spread. They're putting it in the trough, and we can all go eat off it, but I can go eat over here and then come back and clean up over here and get
Right.
both. Like so, there's just multiple ways to there's just different ways to go about it.
Man, that's something, man. You dropping knowledge, man. You tapping in. That's good, man. That's what's up. But yeah, make sure you subscribe to NewOrleans.Football to get all of the combine coverage. Nick and Mike, they'll be out there covering it. He kind of described to you what the play was, so make sure that you're tapped in all the way to get the latest on that. But let's move on to the next topic presented by Hard Hot Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey. Man, how will the new coaches impact the draft? And Kellen Moore, youngest coach in the league now, he's bringing guys in. They hired Staley last week. They just picked up a coach from Texas. Kind of how will that indicate where the Saints will draft at?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, it's going to change
Yeah,
everything. Like
for
like
sure.
as far as like the type of guys they go after. We're talking about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think it changes everything. To a degree. I mean, like I still think everybody like I've said this a million times. Like everyone's like, I hope they change their prototypes. Well, the prototypes are just league averages across the league. Everyone's always like their prototypes are the same as that. Like everybody wants a 6 foot tall corner. Everyone wants a pass rusher ideally that is 6'3", 270. Like they're always going to be the best in the league.
Right.
Like they're going to do it. You get your max or whatever. But like generally speaking, like that's what everybody wants coming off the edge. Everybody wants a safety the same size. Everybody wants their X receiver to be the same size. There's everybody wants their quarterback to be a certain height. Like those are the prototypes, and the Saints set theirs at the league average, and
Right.
that's really all it is. Like that's not going to change. But I think skill sets and what you prioritize in the subsets might get re-ranked a little bit, or how somebody like processes might get reordered a little bit, or somebody might have a preference for hey, this guy went to these schools, and these are the schools that I've liked to work with. They coach it the right way. Like I like these guys. Like there's little things within that where their tendencies could absolutely change. And I don't think anybody wants to draft quote unquote exceptions, but like maybe your tolerance or intolerance for them might be drastically different. Like the Saints over the last few years have shown a penchant for drafting undersized quarterbacks, that
Mhm.
don't fit the height weight prototype. And it's kind of like, well, we're going to try to strike gold and see, maybe all the other traits are there, but these ones aren't, and maybe we strike gold with them, and maybe they still do it with Rattler, but like maybe Kellen Moore's like, no, like I need a quarterback that's this tall. Like that's what I want. That's what I don't even want to try to go after someone that's under 6'1" or whatever. Like
Mhm.
little things like that might change. And I'm not saying like I know that as a fact. Like I know sometimes like oh, Nick said that. Like no, I didn't say. Like I'm just saying like as an example.
Hypothetically
Like
speaking, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes, yeah. Like there might be. I remember, like Vic Beasley was like a no go. Like somebody might say, "Hey, look, that body type's good. Like,
Mhm.
it works on my defense. Like, I have space for a tweener. Like, go get him, draft him, whatever." Like, so some of this stuff, I think absolutely could definitely change.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so interesting. The name of the game, now for the Saints is new, different, because that's what it is now. It's new, it's different. The same system that's been here in more ways than, kind of some people might want to admit over the last couple of years that are attached to the 20 years that Sean Payton was here, close to 20, something like that. But that old way of doing things is kind of changing now. Yeah, there's still people in here who hold on to some of those ways, but the DNA kind of the team is changing and as such. So I'm interested to really see how that develops this draft cycle because that's really where it starts. Like this is where we want this direction for this team to go going forward. And Kellen Moore is pretty exciting to be in that position.
Yeah, like that's the thing though with like the scouting and all that. Like that's never gonna change. Like everybody kind of scouts the same. Like there's been a couple guys where I've heard like this year, a couple drastically different. This team has, Jackson Dart's a great example. Like I've heard like 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 massive disparities in how different teams kind of view him and what their grade is, like their round grade is on him or
Mhm.
whatever. So sometimes you have that, but generally speaking, like there aren't a lot of like shocking draft things. Like Bill Belichick was like the one guy that would draft people where everyone's like, "What the hell?" But like most teams kind of see it the same way. Most people kind of see it the same way. The most shocking thing about like covering the league is that you kind of you kind of realize that like your viewpoint on like players isn't that different from other teams. Like it's from teams like they're more sophisticated with the language. Like they'll have like body movements and stuff like that they value more. Like, oh, this guy like doesn't have the right depth on his hips and he can't turn right. So like
Right.
that's why like there's little things like that. But like generally speaking, like people can see good players and people can see bad players, and like the opinions are usually quite similar. There isn't a lot of times where it's like, "Oh man, I didn't see that about him." So I mean that's kind of the most shocking thing about actually like talking to scouts covering the league and all that. But yeah, I mean I don't think that stuff drastically changes though. Like a good player is a good player, and you kind of see it, kind of how you see it. Quarterback scouting is the one where you get the widest range of opinions, and you know what, like no one knows how to do it. Like no one's a good. There are no good quarterback scouts out there. It doesn't seem like. Saints actually have one in the building that like people around the league talk about quite a bit. About like how his like QB evaluations like tend to be like way more on the money than other people, but they haven't drafted one high enough to like really
To
be
test
there.
it out. Yeah.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you do you take any credence to like the phrase like the newer quarterbacks now don't have a chance to really kind of like develop like the older quarterbacks do. They don't have a chance to wait in the wings and kind of develop themselves up before just getting out there. I know kind of how you feel about how the general society as a whole likes things to be fast and quick, but kind of what are your thoughts on that?
About kind of throwing them to the fire.
Hmm.
I mean, I think there's value in guys learning, but I think you got to play too. Like I don't know. I think it really depends on the individual as well. Like I
Okay.
think some guys need time to marinate. I think other guys don't. I think some guys are going to get better going through it. I think some people might not have the ego to struggle on the big stage, and that could screw them up. So I think you really kind of got to know who you're dealing with. But I think there's value in kind of taking your time with some of that stuff too. Like
Yeah.
really, it is. Like I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to let somebody kind of like understand like the rhythms and the pattern of the league and just kind of have, all that down before you put them into the fire. But look, I mean, we see it both ways now. And Bryce Young's finding his way out of it, and maybe he does, but I don't think I would be hard pressed to find value in that first year of struggle. Like
Yeah.
he might end up fine and it might be informative and all that stuff, but like I can't. I think if you run it in a parallel universe and you protect them from that, like, you might be in better shape.
Interesting. That's not the answer I thought you were gonna give, but it's a really good answer. I thought you were gonna kind of go that way of Man, everybody wants things to be so fast and so quick. And I've heard a lot of your music take, so that's kind of why I figured that. But we're gonna hit a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue with more show.
Ochsner Hospital for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine on Clearview Parkway is celebrating 5 years of exceptional achievements. The hospital's integrated team has successfully performed over 20,000 surgeries using the latest in cutting edge technology. With nationally recognized services and impactful partnerships, they continue to lead the advancement of orthopedic and sports medicine care in our region.
Rouse's Markets is voted best grocery store in New Orleans, best grocery store in Baton Rouge, Mississippi, Gulf Coast, Thibodaux, Houma, Hammond, Lake Charles, Mobile, year after year. Thank you for choosing us best grocery store on the Gulf Coast. Number one. Thank you.
Thank you.
The number one grocery store
In Mississippi, Alabama,
Louisiana. 1 million customers a week can't be wrong. Welcome to Rouse's.
The NewOrleans.Football show is proudly presented by PJ's Coffee. PJ's Coffee has some of the best drinks that you can find. They have locations all over the city. They have pastries and everything else you need to get your day started. So go check them out. NewOrleans.Football is proudly sponsored by Urban South Brewery, the makers of Paradise Park Lager. I love supporting local breweries, and when looking for a refreshing, easy drinking beer, I always recommend Paradise Park. In fact, I think it might be the best game day beer out there. If you want something a little lighter, try Paradise Light. It's everything I love about Paradise Park with just 96 calories and 2.6 carbs. And if you're looking for a family-friendly place to watch the game, I'd recommend Urban South's Tap Room in the Lower Garden District. They've got 15 TVs, 30 unique beers on tap, and mouth-watering urban smash burgers. The whole family will want to make Urban South their new living room because at Urban South, they take laid back seriously. Looking for the best insurance coverage at the lowest price? Look no further than Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency. They are a local independent insurance agency right here in New Orleans, specializing in home, flood, and auto insurance. At Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, their dedicated team will shop every available carrier in the market, ensuring you get the most comprehensive coverage at the lowest possible price. Why settle for less when you can have the best? Trust Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, to protect what matters most to you. I do. I've been a client of theirs since 2021. Call them today at 504-326-6526 or visit them online at Protected by Chabert. That's 504-326-6526. Chabert Insurance, the Earhart Agency, your local insurance experts. Hardhide Ponchatoula Strawberry Whiskey is an 86 proof blend of aged wheat bourbon, American light whiskey, and fresh Ponchatoula strawberries. Blended in New Orleans, it is not for the thin-skinned. Look for it in your favorite stores, bars, and restaurants. Attention Saints fans, don't let pests and termites invade your home field. Trust the team at Red Pest Solutions to tackle those unwelcome visitors. Call the Red Man today for unbeatable pest and termite control. Score peace with no pest. Visit redpest.com, REDDPEST.com.
Welcome back to the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio here for this edition of NewOrleans.Football. It is now time for our next segment presented by Aaron Rose. Nick, we've already kind of seen some teams inform veterans that we're going to move on. I saw this morning that Shaq Thompson, one of the last remaining players, I think he might be the last remaining players from that 2015 Panthers championship run, was informed that he's going to be let go. So besides Derek Carr, because who knows what that situation is going to be. Are there any veterans that the Saints might release, and that would be shocking?
No, I mean, I think everything's on the table. At
Mhm.
this point, you could go full reset. You could not cut anyone. Like I don't see anything on here. Let me look at the depth chart real quick. Like, I don't think there's like Alvin Kamara would be the biggest, like the only
Oh,
guy you
for
could cut that
sure.
would shock me. That's a veteran.
Yeah.
But I don't see, and obviously that's not going to happen. I don't see anyone on here that would really surprise me at this point. I mean, like a Trevor Penning cut could happen and it wouldn't shock me. Like I think it would be stupid to do that, but
Right.
if you just wanted them out of your building, sure. Like there's just nothing. There's nothing here. I don't think they could do anything that would really surprise me at this point. I mean, um, veteran wise, yeah. I don't know, man. Like I think they could do anything. Like I think the table's wide open for everybody, and I think they should strongly consider some of those. Like, and it's not really about these players. Like I think there's just kind of like if you want to reset anywhere, like I think there's value in resetting. especially, on defense. Like if you just want to start over on that side of the ball,
Yeah.
like I could see anything happening. And look, I think there's some guys on that side of the ball that could get let go and go to contenders and be like good players on championship caliber teams, but that doesn't mean they're like the right guy for where this team might be at.
Yeah. Not saying in terms of cut, but I know towards the end of the season it was like, will they, won't they? Where is Cam Jordan at kind of at this point? I know he's kind of been just quiet in terms of that, but doing a lot of TV stuff.
I think Cam is someone who can be a good leader on a bad team, like in
Mhm.
a bad situation. Like I think he has the right personality to be and we saw him kind of lose it a little bit last year and think about like demanding a trade or whatever, and
Yeah.
totally understandable, like with the way he was being used and all that stuff.
Right.
But I think if you had him like feeling good about what he's doing, and I think he's a person with the right attitude for a bad team. And I think there's some guys that are great leaders that might not be a great leader on a bad team. And I think he's one of them. And I think when you look at his cap and you see where it's at, and if you cut him, it's you're losing money.
Yeah.
I think the thing that makes the most sense is to see if he wants to stay at a reduced salary. Now, if he doesn't want to stay at a reduced salary, then I let him go and I put the June 1st tag on him, split it up over 2 years. I can cut him. And his cap number, which is currently 21 million, ends up dropping down to like 7 million, 7.5 million this year, and then you owe him a whole bunch of money next year. But
Yeah.
yeah, dead cap wise. But yeah, I mean, I think that's probably what I would end up doing.
With this new Staley system, kind of how does he fit into that 3-4 kind of range?
Uh, it's tough to say, man. Like there's a lot of nickel snaps.
Mhm.
There's a lot of nickel snaps that's going to put you in a standard front. So I think that's even overrated a little bit. I think you could get him going. The kind of the way you can line up in a 3-4 front and have your fourth guy standing, but still kind of be, set up in a way where you're still kind of, attacking from a 7 tech position. Like, not everything's gonna be, you're straight up at the 5, like, over top of the
Yeah,
tackle.
you
Like, you
could
can
be
be offset a little
shaded.
bit.
Yeah.
You could be over at a wide 9, like, some different things. So I think there's still a role for him within that. You just gotta make sure you put him in positions to succeed, and I don't think they were last year,
Yeah,
early on.
I say early on, he was like, I'm here, but what's really happening? And then BY took over the defensive line, and
Yeah.
you just saw him get energized and kind of have a
That
little.
aging process for him could have been more graceful, like in the
Yeah,
way
for
they were
sure.
using him. Like I
For
think
sure.
I think there's an aging process, and then like the role didn't necessarily match the player, and then you have, a guy that's can, older, like everyone gets older in the league. Like it just
Right.
happens. Like and you aren't the same as you were in 2015. But I think there's that along with like a role that didn't make sense for him, and then you put those two things together and it
Exactly.
accelerates. Yeah.
Yeah. If you're getting longer in the tooth, put them in a position to succeed like they
Yeah.
did towards the end of the season, not just say, hey, we're just not gonna play you, or we're gonna play you once every blue moon. Like, gotta put people in the proper positions to
It
succeed.
don't it don't make sense for me at 12 million bucks. So like I think that number has to come way down.
Oh yeah, for sure. No,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Let's roll into our next segment presented by Rouses, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Nick, with these staff hires that came in last week and will continue to come in throughout this week, where are your expectations at for the 2025 season? They higher, lower, still kind of the same? Too early to tell. Where you at?
A little too early to tell. I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic about some of the things that they're doing. I like the coaching staff. I like the makeup of it. I have questions about Staley. We'll see where those kind of get answered. I mean, I think he's a brilliant guy, but let's see what he can do in this role.
Mm,
So I think that there's things to kind of see there. I think the same is true for Kellen Moore too. I think he's a brilliant person, been a really good play caller. Let's see how he leads the team. I think those are the things that are going to kind of determine it. Direction of the roster is going to play a big part in it. Like they could try to tear down, but do I feel more optimistic about the team right now than I did with Clint Kubiak and Dennis Allen? I do. I mean, I feel better about the direction of the franchise at least. I
right.
don't know if that's the immediate result, but I think longer term, like, yeah, I think they're better positioned to be a good team in time.
What are your quick thoughts on just the addition of Terry Joseph? They added him from the Texas staff. I know you said that they wanted to see about college guys, kind of. coming into these positions. What do you think about that move up for him?
Yeah, he did a really good job at Texas. Like they went from being like a very, very low graded defensive efficiency team in the secondary to second last year. It was
Yeah.
like over he was there for 4 years and they continue to get better in that category year over year over year. So there's good development there. He's from here. They wanted some college flavor on the staff. They were looking at some Livingston was one of the other finalists might be overstating it, but like finalists for
Contenders?
DC. Yeah, like
Yeah.
someone that for a minute, I was hearing his name swirling enough that I've kind of started to think like, is this a possibility? Like, is this
Right.
going to happen? Do I need to look into this guy?
Right.
Never got a story ready, but I was close to getting a story ready. Then it swung back to Staley. So yeah, I mean, it was definitely something they were interested in on the staff. So you get someone there. Yeah, he's from here. Great pedigree, obviously. Brother Vance, one of the better defensive coaches in the league. So yeah, I like it. I like it overall.
It's good. I honestly, I think going back to the original question about the expectations for this team moving forward, yeah, it's too early to tell, but same like you, I feel like this is a positive direction going forward. Now, do I immediately think that this year this is a playoff team? No, not right now. Way too early to tell. No roster moves have been made in that sense to indicate that that's going to be a possibility. But I think even the changes last year, going from Da to Rizzy, and how Rizzy came and infused some just a spark. I think this whole total revamp that's happening under the hood right now is encouraging, and I definitely think it'll be more exciting in a certain
Yeah,
sense. I don't know if I'm too playing too too optimistic or being too naive about it, but I think it'll be interesting.
sometimes you get them new shoes, you put them on, walk out the store, like they feel good, they look good. You're walking with
Right,
a little bit of swagger, and then you get
right.
into that second mile and you got blisters forming. Like you just
Oh
don't know.
no, for
So we're
sure,
gonna
for
find
sure.
out. We're gonna find out.
Hey man, you're old enough to remember the Reeboks that quote unquote made you jump higher when you
The
pumped a
pumps,
little
yeah,
bit.
the
Yeah,
D
when you
Browns,
pumped.
yeah.
As before my time, but I have seen them be retro, so I knew a little something about some. We're
Yeah,
gonna
man.
hit, huh?
What you know about D Brown, man? Like he
Bro,
covered
what
the
are you
eyes.
dabbing? What are you doing?
That's D Brown, dog. That ain't no dab. That's D Brown. You hit the pump, cover the eyes, pop, hit the dunk.
Chad's gonna cook me, man. I'm too young. They're gonna say, "Oh, this guy doesn't know." I don't.
That's
I thought you were dabbing just now.
no, it's D Brown, man.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
something else, man.
it's
Well,
the iconic pump
I'm gonna have to
moment.
do
Yeah,
my homework. I'm gonna have to do my
yeah.
homework, man. We're gonna hit a quick break, and when we come back, we'll hit the Martin Wine and Spirits question of the day.
Total Maintenance is one of the largest locally owned home and commercial service providers in South Louisiana and serve the greater New Orleans and Baton Rouge markets. They have a membership program that gets you 2 tune-up visits for AC and heating, as well as club membership discounts of 15% on all repairs, half off of all diagnostic charges, and 3-year warranties on most repairs for membership clients. This is usually priced at the low price of $24.95 a month per system, but if you tell Total Maintenance that you found them through NOF, they'll lower the price to $20.95 per month per system for as long as you keep the membership active. Services include AC and heating service and replacement, electrical service, plumbing service, as well as generator service and installation. They are Total Maintenance. Find them at tm-ac.com or give them a call at 504-841-3300, or if you're in the Baton Rouge area, 225-480-1000. Martin's is your go-to destination for everything merry and bright this holiday season. From an unmatched selection of bourbon, whiskeys, and wines to gourmet food, gift baskets, and catering, Martin's has all your holiday needs covered. Family owned and operated since 1946, Martin's knows the perfect ways to celebrate this season with loved ones. Visit them in Metairie, New Orleans, or Baton Rouge, or shop online for the ultimate convenience. Whether you're raising a glass or looking for the perfect holiday gift, make it an easy and cheerful holiday with Martin's.
Welcome to the Queen Casino, where entertainment meets unparalleled customer service. From our days on the water to our new land experience overlooking the Mississippi River, our dedicated staff is here to ensure your visit is nothing short of exceptional. Whether you are coming or going, our well-lit parking lot and security team provide guests with red carpet treatment. Our security team keeps watch so you can focus on fun and fortune. From table to table, our attentive staff is here to serve up the ultimate experience. Join us at the Queen Casino. Your royal adventure awaits.
Welcome back to the Oshner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute podcast studio, here for the Martin Wine and Spirits question of the day. Martin's is home to a wide selection of hand-picked barrels like bourbon, whiskeys, and more. Martin's so much more than just wine. Today's question comes from Chad. Chad asks, how long do you think it will take for Brandon Staley to fully implement his 3-4 defense? He said, I realize it will take some time to add the ideal personnel, but it seems that he could do it in one offseason if things fall right.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I don't think it's as drastic of a change as everybody's making that out to be. Like, I think that Cousins, like close cousin, like first cousins, not
First
even.
Cousins,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't think it's.
Not
I
play
don't think
Cousins,
it's.
first Cousins.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
it's a drastic difference. I mean, I think there's some subtleties within there that you want and all that stuff, but we talked about it on the last show. Like, I don't think it's a two gapping scheme where you need basically the massive dude on in the middle and then basically behemoths on the ends, like so that everything flows from your linebackers. No, like you're setting it up and trying to get similar production from similar body types. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a few things that you want to do, but I don't think it's just like massive overhaul. And then again, it's not 1986. Like teams play out of the slot now. Like you have three receivers on the
Yeah.
field, three DB. Like it's not what it used to be. So yeah, I think you can get there. I don't think you go there. You can get there in one off season, but if you don't get there, like I don't think it's like Brandon Staley can't play defense because he doesn't have all the pieces he wants. Like it's close enough that I think you can shift a couple of little things around and be right where you want to be.
And just adding on, this is actually another question, but adding on into that because it flows well. Somebody like Colin Saunders, I know you were saying last week that the Vince Wilfork build is kind of like getting phased out. Where would somebody like him fit it with that?
Like with the
For
Wilford
the
bill,
Yeah, no, well, with the 3-4, within 3-4 with the Colin Saunders.
I mean, he wouldn't have been a 1992 nose in a three-man front.
Yeah.
Like, but like I think you can still play him at DT in that type of front if he's on your team. I mean, it's just kind of it's not what it it's just not what it used to be. Like it's just not what it used to be. Like it would be like, you'd have Vince there and then you'd have like a 320-pound end on each side. Like it's just not that's just not how teams play anymore. Like it's just isn't it isn't, heavy D and the fat boys or whatever the hell they were. Like it's just not that anymore, man. It's
Yeah.
just not that anymore. I think it's just, it isn't big pun and fat Joe. Like, it's just
Terror Squad.
yeah. Like it's a couple of Rick Rosses. Like you aren't getting, you be a little, big and but
Big and
not
agile. Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Big and
yes, yes,
agile.
yes, yes,
Sexy
yes,
smooth.
yeah.
Sexy smooth.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. But I think it's changed a little bit.
For
Yeah.
sure. For sure. Hey, before we get out of here, before the combine starts, where you at pick 9? Just quick. You gotta be quick. You don't have to think about it too much.
Give me one.
1? That's where you going with?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Where you think his 40 is gonna be at? Think I got him?
What do we
bruh.
think his 40 is gonna be?
Mhm.
I could if you gave me like a heads up on this, I could have gave you like an accurate answer.
I know. That's why I hit you quick.
I don't know. I think he's gonna run a good 40 though.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
That'll that'll do it for this edition of New Orleans.Football. We appreciate y'all for stopping in. Catch you next time.